Does Austria have room to spare in this mod besides reuniting land and such? Not sure what you're asking there, Shadow Guardian. Literally sat here with no idea how someone could play this game. My mind is blown. This one's not that bad. This one's approachable. And if you would like to learn, you should check out the beginner-friendly series as Italy. Huh? Nice smooth segue there. Oops, which I'm sure will appear magically in chat in just a moment. There it is. Haha. Thanks, mods. I think Eritrea was at war with the Co-Prosperity Sphere, Reichspakt and the Entente all at once. Yeah, it's possible. What I'm asking is, do they have focuses to take other countries? Oh, I see, expansion focuses. I don't think so. It's a long time ago that I played as Austria. I'm still kind of waiting for an Austria rework, because they need one badly. Or more to the point, their minions need one, because none of them are focuses. Which, considering, like, even random African nations which don't even exist at the start of the game have focus trees, and yet Illyria doesn't, Bohemia doesn't. It's a bit strange. Hell, even some of the Brazilian miners have focus trees, and Galicia doesn't. Is Victoria 2 the hardest to learn? Of the more recent Paradox games, yes. I would say Victoria 2 and Hearts of Iron 3. And if you really like war games and you want to get more into war games, Hearts of Iron 3 is worth a look. It's a lot deeper than this is, like by an order of magnitude more. Hungary is by far the most significant country not to have a focus tree. Hungary or Illyria? I always imagine that Illyria is bigger because it's basically Yugoslavia. Austria's tree is fine, isn't it? Given the Nuenders are just a real part of Austria, they shouldn't get anything special. I disagree with that, Heretic. Because it massively detracts from Austria going the decentralized route. Which should be possible and should be quite powerful, but it's not because they don't have their focuses. This is basically the vassal swarm Austria, which is an entirely legitimate way to do it. Wave 3 is fun, but it's so much slower than Hearts of Iron 4. I mean, yeah, it's hugely deeper. Oh, we're paused. Why are we paused? I don't know. Why are we paused? Unless we're due to stop at midnight? I thought it was 1 AM that we were supposed to stop. I'm not sure. USA called in French Republic. I don't know what's going on. Hello.
Hi, sorry, but my pause for a moment. Someone was just dealing with the rule break.
Okay, no worries.
Yes.
Okay, so another rule break being dealt with most seriously. Hungary occasionally wins the unification war against Austria and then stalls out completely because it doesn't have a focus tree and can't do anything. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. A rule break most foul. Yes, indeed. Very naughty players. People think they can get away with it. Either that or just not aware. Like, there are a lot of rules in this. So one of the reasons I'm so careful in my community games to try and keep the rules simple. Like, I get it, this is competitive, you're gonna have to deal with exploits and stuff like that. But then, if you get too many rules going on, then it becomes a real problem. Also, Entente have just taken Faroe Islands. That's interesting. While Third International is still going for Iceland. I do like that they're protecting convoys in this area. Also, why am I seeing the naval stuff? I'm in land. Oh, yeah, it's always shown. Duh. Alright, is there anything going on other than Union of Britain's fleet smashing a Canadian fleet with basically no fuel left? Is a bit dangerous. These guys are attacking here, and it looks like they're going to take the province. Yes, they have been pushed back. French tanks are responding to the threat and then have been pinned by infantry. And it looks like the Austrian tanks are leading the way, taking more territory, moving on towards Lille, most likely, or possibly trying to take Dunkirk, or the province next to Dunkirk, in order to get another cut-off going on here. But the French heavy tanks are back in position. They've pushed the Austrian tanks back again, and despite some pretty aggressive counterattacks, doesn't look like that's going to do anything. Ethiopia, meanwhile, has fallen. I gotta say, there is a lot more grabbing of territory outside of the core regions for this game. Like, going so aggressively after Africa. Don't often see that. Say I make mods too, where can I find those? Prophecy of Pendor for Mountain Blade. Warband, not Bannerlord. Looking at the Kaiserreich Weekly Discord, and I'm deeply amused by the Entente having all changed the Discord icons to being the same. Yeah, I wonder if they're doing that to obfuscate who exactly is playing in which. Actually, the icons are probably not really a part of that, but the names in this might be to obfuscate who's playing as who. Which is a tactic I'd never really considered. Like the fact that they're all called Necron Slave 1, 2, and 3, except for Black Necron. And Australasia. Orcsec. Is the default tree in Kaiserreich the same as vanilla? Yes. What was the rule break? That's another good question. I will ping one of the mods. I think that Tripolitania is actually occupied territory. I don't think that this is... Oh no, it should be updated. Maybe it is a puppet. Like, never take the map in the peace screen as wrote. Because very often various countries like Persia, pretty sure it doesn't exist. We'll find out once they're done here. Is it Bulgaria and Russia having too similar a colour and needing to duel to the death to decide who gets to keep it? Oh, I see. Okay, so the rule break was this province, I think. So there is a tiny province of Tigray near Eritrea. The Entente had occupied it, but the Reichspakt took it in the peace deal. And I don't know which one it is. I suspect it's one of these two. So it was supposed to have gone to the Entente, but Reichspakt pinched it in the peace deal. Okay, so Africa is definitely getting gobbled up. You were asking about Tripolitania. It is indeed independent. It is indeed a French puppet. So the French are probably doing that so that they can get more manpower out of those. And the West Indies naval invasion of Gibraltar just got foiled. But they are moving increasing troops numbers over here. That's a lot of Indians. That's interesting. Meanwhile, French motorized. Now, here's the thing that I remember about France. They've got really good motorized and really good light tanks, so it makes complete sense they would be like the charging around taking stuff faction. Because in the Entente multiplayer that I did, I was playing as the French Republic, and yeah, their light stuff is really good. I was basically acting as the Entente Special Forces to get the breakthroughs, to get the territory seized when necessary. And you're right, you can't close these. Can't right-click them either. Okay. Meanwhile, no, I think that's the same one, or maybe just a repeat. Oh, American naval invasion. Going on against the Irish and Iceland. Managed to take both of the ports, which is good for them. And those American units are not going to have a huge amount of organization. And also Sardinia apparently going for CNTFAI's Faroe Islands. We got Indian units starting to march out against the Russians. They have plugged the northern frontier, which is what killed India in the game last weekend. Wasn't there another little gap around here somewhere? Maybe it was here. No, it was definitely over here. I think that there was like a 2-province gap next to Nepal. That's Nepal. That's Bhutan. It was here. It was this one province that he left unguarded. Less of a problem here, seeing as Bhutan and Nepal have been eradicated by the Indians. So what are the neutral territories are there to take? Let's zoom out in the faction map mode, and we can see now how the world is so incredibly occupied. Poland is still independent. That's kind of interesting. Reichspakt could easily take Poland. Norway is still independent. Very interesting. Yemen is. Africa, almost in its entirety, except for Liberia, has been taken. South America still has some space. Reichspakt in the south, so it does look like Argentina finally won their war there. Entente, this is America starting to gobble up some of the territories. Entente in Central America, well, not Central America, but Central America. Panama area. Mexico is still neutral, though definitely aligned towards co-prosperity, but this is probably one of the most complete occupations of the map that I've seen. Like, every nation is gobbled up quite hungrily regions of the world. And there goes Iceland. Another of those lights falters. Another nation falls. Union of Britain took one state. Iceland have been annexed. Okay. And yeah, this is definitely denying the international Venezuelan oil. I mean, they can still get the Mexican oil. There just isn't as much of it. Socialist Republic of Italy declared war on Cyprus. That's Reichspakt. It's Bulgarian puppet. There is oil here, though. But not nearly as much as Venezuela. But it does look like these guys are building up their synthetics, and because of the ridiculous revolutionary synthetics, I hate this modifier, they gain loads of fuel from refineries. But right now, the entire world... Oh, no, we've got a big fight going up here in Belgium. We got the French assaulting into the German lines again. It kind of looks like Germany is relatively content to sit back and just absorb the attacks, forcing France to take the initiative. I mean, France does have their heavies. They do now have, what, 6 of them in the field that I can see. Yeah, they're up to 6 now. So they have replaced some of their losses, but the 5 divisions they lost earlier, they could have 11 right now. 11 would make a massive difference. 13 if they hadn't lost the 2 other ones which they were penalised. Cyprus has capitulated to SRI, so Italy actually successfully doing a naval invasion. Which makes me question what on earth happened to those Austrian submarines. Because I doubt that Italy is actually protecting this stuff. Of course not. Silly question. With most of the countries occupied, which side is the most strategic options? Good question. I would say I'm expecting Co-Prosperity to go against the Entente soon. I think that Co-Prosperity is going to want India. It's kind of a thorn in their side. It's also a massive source of industry, manpower, and resources. Possibly going after Australasia, because they just seem like perfectly positioned to go after Australasia and basically deny anyone else in the Eastern Hemisphere. Probably will go after GEA. Russia and Germany are almost certainly going to clash, and that will bring GEA in. So they could go after those territories, securing more of the resources in that area. There might be a clash between the Entente and the Reichspakt over Africa, though I don't know what the Entente really stands to gain if they do that, and I suspect the Reichspakt is more than a little bit concerned about the two-front war that's looming. And I also suspect that the Entente is going to continue attacking into South America. Like Brazil is another really good, high manpower, decent industry, lots of resources territory, which I think the Entente would be looking at pretty hungrily. Possibly the Reichspakt, but the main thing that Brazil has is rubber, and they don't really have a problem with that. The Entente, however, does, and they probably want to secure these so that they are not reliant on the GEA, which is currently the rubber producer, which they could lose access to. Brazil would be a good acquisition for them, and they can use all of their territories here in the north, plus of course naval invasions, to take it. Poland, here we go. We saw that Poland was independent. We are now seeing that Poland is not going to be independent for much longer. So, yeah. Reichspakt is gobbling these guys up. We still have Venice and Lombardy. Oh no, Lombardy's joined. Venice is still independent. Switzerland is still independent, though I think Switzerland would be a bit more dangerous to go after, because the International would probably do the same. And then, of course, Albania. I do very much suspect that the Reichspakt is going to grab these 3. Too tempting a target for other nations to go after. Norway, possibly. Norway would definitely give them more ports to do naval projection out into the North Atlantic, especially now the Third International has Iceland. goes Bolivia. It's another of the South Americans. As I said, Entente's going after South America. If CoPro attacks Germany, the Entente will probably get Africa. If CoPro attacks Germany, the Entente will probably get Africa. But Germany and the Entente won't be at war. Unless you're saying that they would go after Germany for that. I mean, the other thing I did want to take a look at is to see the scores at the moment. That could inform us a fair amount about what is happening at the moment. So if someone wants to do exclamation mark scores, you will get a breakdown of the scores at the moment. Right now, Third International is winning, but only by 1 point. Reichspakt of 3, Third International of 4, Entente has 1, CoPro has 0. So CoPro needs to make a move. They need to get onto the scoreboard. I think that there is at least a point in India, and I think like strategically it's just too important a position not to go after. They could also go after the Reichspakt, because I believe that there are a couple of victory points in legation cities, and more importantly like Tsingtao and I think Thailand and Vietnam. Not Thailand, they already have that. Did we miss something here? I think we did. I just saw the bubbles, I was like, hang on. Right, because of Lombardy, it's opened up a new front. How can you see what's a victory point? If you go to the scores sheet, scroll down. They're there. At least I think it was a scroll down. Well, they're sorting that out. I can have a look. Yeah, scroll down. So the different colours tell you different things. It's all colour-coded. Ukraine took 7 states. Poland has been annexed. But more importantly is the fight going on here, because we do have an offensive right now trying to cut SRI in half. And that would be a problem for them. So I would like to see some of the Austrian tanks down here making use of this gap right now. SRI, we have seen a kind of the weak link here. We do actually have French heavy tanks standing by ready to do some pushing. They do also have this vulnerability of just one province cutting this whole thing off. But taking Spezia would basically cut Italy in half. Taking... yeah, Spezia is really the one that they want to go after, I think. Meanwhile, there are movements going on in the North Atlantic. That's mostly Union of Britain and CNT. And there we go. They're attacking Spezia now, as we kind of expected to see. So I'm going to see this from Austria's perspective, because I'm guessing that Austria is active here. Ruthenia, United Baltic, Germany. So Germany is here. They really need these Austrian tanks to help pushing, but they are almost certainly concerned about these heavy tanks, which are just rumbling towards them. Plus, we have another cutoff over here. So Austria looks like they've made another push to try and retake Wallonia Lombardy? No. Flanders Wallonia? Wow, that was a bit of a weird geography. Points in Asia the CoPro doesn't have. Delhi 3, Canberra 1, Singapore 1, Auckland 1, Hawaii 1, Colombo 1, Lahore 1. So yes, there are quite a few points out there which they could definitely get. And I think that the acquisition of Lombardy actually kind of surprised both sides. I don't think either of them were really expecting that this would open up effectively a new front. Meanwhile, the fight over here is brutal and bitter. We have the French heavies once again attacking into Brussels and trying to get the cutoff here. Meanwhile, the Austrian mediums are trying to destroy the forces in Ghent, quite successfully eroding the combat strength of those units. Now the attack in Italy has happened. We've got the French heavies trying to get the cutoff, as we kind of expected. Venice has just joined the Reichspakt. How the hell they got them to do that? Austrian pressure? Does Austria have a decision or something which allows them to get them to join? Because now Venice has a border down here. We would have a fight over the Po River, which would be difficult. And France has taken it. These guys are all cut off. And I gotta say, the Reichspakt is actually being caught scrambling here a little bit. Particularly if this is a result of their actions. Like Austria don't really need these guys back here anymore. They could be sent to the front line to help bolster their new Italian allies. And then Germany losing these guys for basically no reason. Meanwhile, this French unit is not quite dead yet. Looks like the Austrian mediums are attacking into the French heavies, while the French heavies are attacking into Antwerp and almost taking it. Last second reinforcement, but they threaten to encircle the Austrian tanks. The tanks need to retreat. And they're not. They really, really should, because these guys are not going to hold on forever. We do have some more Austrian units on the way in. We do also have some more German garrison divisions on the way in to try and help bolster that position. But this is a counter. This is a cut-off that could go either way. In half an hour. So at 12:30, we want to do a player of stream favorite player. So we've already done the most popular based on their description faction, but I want to do favorite player. So at past, we'll start talking about what the options are, and I'll compose a list of 5, and then we'll get chat to vote on those 5 at past. Meanwhile, the attack into Ghent seems to be doing quite well. The Austrian mediums are actually resisting the French heavies. Oh, those mediums, are they freaking heavies? Hang on, I'm just going to obscure the screen because I want to take a look for myself. Not sure what the icon is. And I don't want to spoil the templates, not at this stage. Okay, they are heavies. I was wrong. I've been calling them mediums throughout the game, but they are in fact Austrian heavies. I was thinking, how on earth is a medium, like, fighting against a French heavy and actually, like, resisting them? But that was just a giant heavy tank battle that we saw just there. We still have these German defensive units attacking into the French unit, which is resisting remarkably hard. This is probably on last stand. Otherwise, that wouldn't be possible. And they have left Ghent open. I don't know if that was intended. I think they're definitely concerned about the heavy tanks here. And there we go, they killed it. So they have successfully pushed the French out of another portion of Belgium just as Bruges falls. So that was a pretty well-timed offensive there. Meanwhile, in Italy, we have these SRI units attacking into the German units, not being hugely effective. And Austria or probably Bulgaria pinging that they need to defend against India in Saudi Arabia. Clearly concerned about a Entente backstab.